Super! Hope this is not Chris's blood.
For me, Clock Tower 3 is the best underrated horror game of all time, and I'll tell you why. I'm not promising that you're going to think this game is good, just that you're going to think it's interesting, and there's a couple reasons for that. This is not so much a horror game as it is a game about fear. And I know that sounds like the stupidest shit you've ever heard in your life, but hear me out on this one. I've got a point. Think about how fear affects you as a person. Think about how it challenges your psyche. As somebody who has nyctophobia, or fear of the dark, I can tell you, as anyone with this fear will tell you, it's not that you're afraid of the darkness, you're afraid of what's in it. You see, it's this thing that you can't comprehend. It has no form, it has no purpose. You just feel like it's there. This lingering shadow somewhere off in the darkness, darting in and out of your vision, just outside the corner of your sight. And just waiting for its chance to strike and do something unspeakable to you. It's that thing you don't understand. It's that variable that you can't comprehend. It's the horror of the unknown. And that's reflected a lot in Clock Tower 3. Alyssa, the main character, is placed against these monsters that are much bigger than her, that wield weapons that are terrifying against her, okay? She is fighting serial killers from many years ago that want nothing more than to see her dead. And that's really scary if you think about it. Not just one person, but a bunch of them all chasing after you, and you're defenseless. But Alyssa goes on a journey. She starts to understand who these people were, what they did, and why they currently have the forms that they do. And once she understands that, suddenly she has power. She's given this grand, glittering bow of an arrow that can fire bolts of pure light to trap her enemies and banish them with pure holy energy. And you may be thinking, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why would you do that in a horror game? Like, horror buffs will tell you that's the worst thing you could ever do. They will tell you you shouldn't be able to kill shit. And I totally understand why, because you want the player to feel powerless. That's why I said this is less of a horror game and more a game about fear. Because again, think back to how fear works. It's that unknown element. But what if you faced that element? What if you started studying the idea that getting yourself comfortable with the mindset that there's nothing in here. It's my house. It's my place. I have walked these halls time and again during the day, and I know for a fact there is nothing there that can hurt me. You take that in your heart, you open your door, you stare straight into the shadows, and suddenly you've done it. You have overcome your fear. Through understanding comes power, and through power can come triumph. Suddenly, the monsters are afraid of you. That is what makes Clock Tower 3 so great. It's an exploration of how fear works. It's the mechanics of fear and how it affects us on a personal level. So why am I the only one to realize this? Why has nobody else stepped forward and realized this game for the brilliance that it is? Probably because, and I'm not gonna lie, the monsters in this game kinda suck. Like, they're probably some of the lamest slasher villains you will ever see. These guys are straight out of Z-movie rejects, okay? The only one that's even halfway scary is the Corroder. And I think that's because I've never seen a slasher villain who uses acid as a primary method of death before. Oh, and you may be thinking, if you're a serious veteran, well, what happened to Scissor Man? Well, he's back, and he brought his creepy sister with him. Yay? Look, like I said, I didn't promise that you were going to think this game was good, only that you'd find it interesting, and isn't that the point? I mean, these days it seems like horror games live and die off of the merit of how unique they are, how much they do something that you're simply not used to doing in this genre. And that's what I can promise you more than anything else. Clock Tower 3 definitely does some things that you will not be used to. And that is why it's the best underrated horror game of all time.